boys and girls. All right, today we're going to practice with our oil pastels. So pull out your bag of oil pastels, your piece of white paper, and let's do a little practice to get used to using oil pastels. I want you to pull out your black one and your white one to start. We'll pull out the colored ones in a minute, but right now we're just going to use black and white. Oil pastels are a little different from crayons. Crayons are wax with color in them. Oil pastels are color with some other stuff besides wax, but they're a little oily, and so they don't really dry all the way. So we will be putting our oil pastel artwork into a plastic sleeve when we're all finished. Otherwise, it rubs off on things. You also want to pull up your sleeves in case you have them. You don't want to get this on your sleeves. Oh man, there's thunder outside. Did you hear that? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to use these two to make a great value. Value is a word we use in art, and it has to do with the lightness or darkness of something. You can have a dark value or a very light value or anywhere in between. Let's try it. So with your black pastel in your hand, do what I do. Follow along. I'm going to take this, I'm going to start up here, and I'm only going to use up about this much space. I'm going to use an up and down motion like this. So I'm going to do it kind of strong here at the beginning, and I'm going to move this direction. And as I do, I'm going to get a little lighter, and a little lighter, and a little lighter. And I'm going to go out about that far, as light as I possibly can. Okay? So I've done darker here, lighter here. Maybe I'll give a little more here, okay? So you can see I've got a very dark value moving to a light value, but it's black. I can only get it so light. Now I'm going to take my white pastel. If by chance yours has already been used, you'll want to clean it off. And the way you clean off a pastel, you can see my pastel has some purple on it. And I want to get that purple off. And you're going to have to do this sometimes when you use a light colored oil pastel. And the way you clean it off is by having a piece of scrap paper, and you just kind of make some little marks and clean it off just like that. And then check it. Oh, I've got a little purple there. There. Now it's mostly clean. So that when I come in here, I'm going to do the same thing I did here, except I'm going to work this way this time. So I'm going to start with my white here, strong white, and then I'm going to, well, I'm using a medium pressure. I'm not pressing super hard and I'm not pressing super light, just medium. But you can see here, I've got white. You can't really see it. But watch what happens when I head into the black. I'm going to head in like this. And look at that, it's starting to blend. And I'm going to keep going. Now you can go straight up and down, or you can do circles. Either one is fine. I'm going to do some circles now that I'm in here. And look at that. As I'm heading towards the dark end, it's getting darker and darker. And when I get all the way down here, you're not even going to be able to see that I'm using a white. But what it has done, it has blended this. So now I've got this really nice, smooth transition from dark to light. And now I've got some white down here, and the black ended here, but if I want, I can come back. I still have that, and that's okay. I'm gonna come back in here, and I'm gonna blend into my white with some circles and see if I can blend that a little more. Then I'm gonna turn back down here, and uh-oh, you can see I had some yellow on my pastel too. All right, that's a pretty nice looking blend. How's yours going? Okay, if you're finished with that, let's try it with a couple different colors now. Because in our project today, we're going to be working with some vibrant colors. Now on the color wheel, you can see we have the primary colors, blue, yellow, and red. Those are the primary colors that we can't get mixing any other colors. But when we mix blue and yellow, you know that we get green, right? And if we mix yellow and red, we get orange. And if we mix blue and red, we get purple. Excuse me. So let's pull out your yellow and your blue pastels. Did you know you can mix colors with your pastels? Let's try it. Let's do what we did before and start with the darkest color first, and then we'll come in with the lighter color and blend back, okay? Which means I'm going to start with the blue. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do some blending. Now I'm using medium pressure for the whole thing, and I'm going to come back and use maybe a little bit heavier pressure here. And then I'm going to go as light as I possibly can. And that's about it. I can't go much lighter than that. I did fairly dark here at the end, at the beginning, I should say. Sometimes I have a hard time talking at the same time I'm doing art. Okay, you can see that I've already used my yellow, so I'm going to clean it up by running it here and just using this as my piece of scratch paper and just cleaning up my pastel. Okay, my pastel is pretty clean. I'm going to start, and you do yellow here and work in that direction towards my blue. Watch what happens. You do it too, okay? Grab your yellow and do it with me. So we're going to start here and make some yellow, and using medium pressure, and then I'm going to head into that blue, and guess what starts happening right away? Green is starting to happen, and what a beautiful green it is. Heading towards the darker part of the blue. You don't see the yellow as much anymore. But now, I want to still show some of my blue, so now I'm just going to use very light pressure and only blend a little bit. I'm not going to blend all the way to the end, just a little bit. I'm going to come back, maybe do a little more blending down here, and that's it. You will have these little bits of oil pastel stuff. That means you've got plenty on there. But what a nice transition we have from blue to yellow with the green in the middle. And these are the cool colors. Remember, on your color wheel, you've got these cool colors. Well, yellow is not a cool color, but these are your cool colors because they remind us of snow and ice and cold temperatures. And then these are the warm colors. They look like fire and sunshine and warm sunny days. So those are our warm colors. Okay, let's try one more thing. I want to show you. I'm going to use a different color. How about if I use a red? I've got a red orange here. I want to talk to you a little bit about how to start and then continue with your oil pastels. You're going to want to just color with this like you use a color crayon, but it's a little different. With oil pastels, you always want to be thinking about 2 layers, at least 2 layers. You want to think about your first layer. So I'm going to put down my first layer of red. So here's my first layer of red. I'm just going to be quick, and there's my first layer. Now, even if I kind of make it heavy, you can still see the paper through that, right? Can you see that? You can still see some of the white coming through. So if I go back with the same color even, or I could use a different color, I think I'll do yellow on part of it. But even if I go back with the red now and I do it again, now I'm getting that really dark, and you don't see hardly any of my paper. So you try that too. Now I'm going to take a yellow for the second half. For my second layer here, I'm going to use yellow. What do you think is going to happen? Yep, you're right. It's making a nice orange color. And it filled in all the white. How did yours turn out? Isn't that fun to see all of the white just disappear? Now I can take some yellow. Maybe you try this too. Continue with some yellow. Depends on how soft your pastel is. I've got pretty good. It's pretty hard to see if there's white in there, but this one's covering it. Let's see what I can do here with, let's try a pink. I'm going to add some pink onto this. See how it happens if I take a darker color on top? You can do that too. There's the pink, but I didn't blend very well. You can kind of see where the pink ends and the yellow begins, right? Well, if something like that happens to you, you can fix that. Just go back in and add some pink over here in your yellow, and then pick up your yellow and add some into the pink over here again. There, I've kind of fixed that problem now. Now it's a little bit of a better blend, and I'll add some more pink here at the end. So you can kind of keep going back and forth between your colors and blending like that. It's very fun to do. Today, in our art lesson, we're going to be working on some black paper, but it's going to work the same way on black and white. Here's my black paper. Let's do a sample just for fun. I'm going to use some purple, which is really hard to see on the black. And then I'm going to add some blue right there. And then I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to go into some green here. Now I didn't blend very hard here. So I'm going to go back now and I'm going to blend with a white. You can see I've got some black on top of that, right? So I'm going to clean my pastel again. I can blend with my blue into my purple, or I can blend with my green into my blue, but they're not going to show up so great. But if I take the white one is like a magic blender. It just makes everything come alive, especially working on the dark paper. So watch what happens when I just take a white and I'm going to move it all the way across. I'm going to start at my color that's a little lighter and go towards my darker color. In this case, green is a little lighter. Now I'm not pressing too hard, but you can see it's lightening up my green. And then it's going into that blue. And now I'm going into that purple. And I've added that little bit. And I can take my purple and I can come back and add a little bit on top, and I can blend into my blue and really get this area nice. And I can take a little bit of my blue there and come back in and blend with my green. And I can pick up my green and even do a little more blending here. So you can see how having a little bit of white in there really makes those colors, oops, I didn't want to do that, really makes those colors pop out compared to when I just had green here and blue and purple. They were fine, but having another color to blend with them, that works. Just depends on the look you're going for. It's fine, but when I add the white, just adds something a little different. Okay, that's about it. If I do any more, now I'm just adding so much more pastel that I don't need, because it'll only hold so much. All right, but that is a little bit of information to get you started on using oil pastels. I hope you have a good time. I'll see you in the next video.